Good evening, people. It's me, Marius, and Carolis. We're back again every Thursday, at least as long as we don't announce otherwise. And tonight we're gonna talk about third and fifth dimensions and what's the difference between those two. In the past 3 or 4 years, all of us experienced events in the world which touched everyone in a good or bad way. We experienced different events which never happened before. We never thought that's even possible, I guess, some of us at least. And after these events, at least for me, what I see, there's a world which is divided into people who are afraid of what's next and what might happen, and into people who kind of, I would say, transcend through the fear and stay more true to themselves, take care of themselves, and do the best of what is possible to do in their environment. Be the light for the people which are in their life, and where the impact can be done. Not trying to tackle world problems without having the tools to tackle small problems. As one of my not, I can't say mentor, but one of the people who inspired me to think, talk, it's Jordan Peterson, famously said about don't try to fix the world without first fixing your room. That's tidying up your bed, cleaning the room, cleaning the house, fixing the stuff in your own house. Check if everything's in your life in order, and then that can spread to your neighbors. Then that can spread to the community, and that's the mentality I'm taking on, where I'm taking care of what's around me, what I can impact, what is possible to do, not what is out of my grasp at the moment, at least. Maybe in a couple of years I will be able to tackle world problems, but not at the moment. So I just choose not to kind of burn myself about it and do my best and be the best human being I can be at this given moment. What's your thoughts about this?
So I will start from a first point, the third and fifth dimensions you mentioned, yeah.
Yes.
So I was partially involved into quite few dozens of discussions on this topic with various people, who had this different experience, and for this day I can share only that it's really our creation in mind, what we create, the stages, the realms, the multiverse and all this. It's possible, it's real, as long as you believe in it, as long as you create it in your perspective, as long as you're capable to do this, because some people are incapable to do this. About the global events, Marius mentioned a lot of word of problems, and I have a different perspective. It's focus is the same, but the verbal definition of that is a bit different. When I see the problem, I straight away ask a question: what is the solution? If there is no solution right now, we can start gathering data, whatever is needed in this world, to solve that issue.
Yeah.
The fear itself is, it's in our roots. It's a survival mechanism, and I think we spoke in the last podcast, but I'm not even sure which language we spoke about this, that the fear is one of the main tools how we are being taught, how we gather wisdom. And even let's say, I will give you the greatest example I could say is fear of God.
Hmm.
It's direct responsibility in front of a supreme being that you are creating, envisioning in yourself, that you are accountable to it. Is that a bad fear or is it good fear? So for me, that transition, if we use the term third dimension and fifth dimension, was accepting of non-duality. And we when you spoke about global events, we kind of, or most of us who are in this journey of self-development and being aware about global events, we all know what's more or less happening, and what kind of a future is potentially going to happen. That creates also fear. That creates insecurity, financial level, a personal level, human being level.
Yeah.
Um, how I eliminate, because in 2020 I was mad. Like, that was a huge year for me on this aspect. This transition to from 3D to 5D, from fear to love, and all this stuff. Today I can say it's a lot of conceptions being used, but everything is more or less way easier than it looks like, because uh, like I mentioned before, there's two types of human beings what we encounter in every day. It's about the beliefs I'm talking about. Yeah. So first one is the human being who has a soul,
Yes.
and the second one is a soul which has human being experience. Now, you may ask, like, okay, how to define this difference? It's quite obviously from already what I said. Your identity is not the human being. It is in a human being way, because you are in continuous dream of this body, of the senses, but your identity is nameless,
Yes.
because it's a pure energy. You are an energetic being, and energetic being, I had an encounter in on this topic of energetic being, fear, love, and etc. That there are different types of energetic beings. There are some dark alien souls and all these things. As long as I aware about this dream, I haven't encountered them. What I encountered was my inner demons.
Yeah.
And those demons was shapeshifters. They was like, crazy, messing my mind, messing my inner status of where I was going to. And at certain point, those demons was one of the best teachers ever, because they are the ones who are most in need of love.
Yes. I agree with
Because
you.
because
Yes.
if you start to judge them, or you start to create some sort of a concept of some sort of powers like that's making stuff, it's all right to you're gonna go through things. It's all right to go through things, but all I'm saying is just get back to the moment. Get back to the moment. And if you clearly understand what means collective consciousness and what means being a soul, there is no such a thing as fear. Yes, it's a sensation of the body which is observed objectively.
Yes. And now, when you say clearly understand those statements, I think it's again, we're back to the point where words are just words. Until we don't have the experience, it will never be objective, because words is not the truth itself. It's just parallel to the truth.
Because the perception of the word meaning is way different for each individual reflection of
Yeah,
ours.
what I'm saying. So till we get like certain experiences, it's quite hard to name them, to explain them in words.
Yeah. uh, sometimes maybe it's easy to use the words to define things, because we've been preconditioned to do this. But what I mean is, sometimes more harder is to accept the real meaning of that word, what it means to you, because it's easy to go Google the meaning of the word.
Yes.
Because when you Google the meaning of the word, is, let's take a word fear. Yeah, let's get back to fear. And okay, you define the fear. It's a sensational definition. Yeah, but let's
Yes.
go into situations. Every situation which has a fear, but where it comes from?
I think it comes from not seeing the whole picture.
Oh, at least the picture.
Yes, but
At least the
but,
picture,
but when you understand that everything is in balance, you know that you can choose your perception. So when you, like, for me, watching this movie called Life is about learning as much perceptions as possible, that every time something happens in my life, I can just breathe in, breathe out, and see how I felt about the situation and choose how I want to see the situation, instead of just blindly reacting. Because that's, I think, the only difference between us and other animals. Because animals can't have that second thought about what happened and how they want to react to this. Because
And
animals,
I think they are way happier because they don't overthink. They do not
yes,
tap into social dogmas, So
yes. So yeah, there is benefits, of course, and just adapting to like natural cycles, where humans, as being so smart and wise and whatever, we kind of lost that touch, at least in Western society. That's why we can see the rise of these, like Wim Hof is on the rise for what, 10 years probably now, or 7 years, I don't know, but we're getting back to mother nature and learning the cycles and how we need to kind of address it as well.
mm. It's recently there was a conversation between a couple people. I was just observing that conversation. It was happening in the comments, and it was happening because of one of the persons told that we should allow the nature um, allow the nature to go through us and do things through us, without any judgment, and I'm a strong believer of a destiny, and that everything was pre-written, and now it's just manifesting through us. And other side was strongly abused by that statement, because look, if we stop analyzing and judging ourselves, yeah, like what we have done,
Yeah,
and we will say like, oh, that's everything is based on nature, like in nature there's nothing good or wrong, or right or wrong, good or bad, then we're gonna have like a dictatorship, or anything else that's like very very bad, yeah. um, but look to the world, look to our environment, yeah. So the world itself is like a balance, yeah. So
yeah,
if we get too much bad, we get more good, yeah. If we get too much dark, we get more light, yeah. If we get too much light, we get more dark. And that's how this we could name it law of a balance, yin and yang, which is basically, we could believe that it's controlling how universe responds to the matter. So is it really that sounds that bad, that you do not judge your actions afterwards? It's like, you know your capacity to deliver action is based on your past judgment.
yes,
Okay, so self-reflection without the judgment is all right, it's healthy when it's used in moderation.
yes,
Because if you start to think too much, like, ask anybody, when you start to think too much, it's drowning.
yes, it's
it's
burning.
drowning it's drowning, yeah. When you want to get the best ideas, you need to think much? No, it just,
Yeah,
some people even uses those techniques of sitting in silence, visualization, breath observations, and all these kind of things that brings them to stillness.
yeah,
And, like, example, one of the worst events in our world was one of the most changing ones.
because it's always like this.
When you get, I have a friend who is currently experiencing big life threatening health issues and so on. And he saw one of my offers online, and he said like, bro, I don't have money right now, but I would like to have a chat with you. And I was like, just bring it on, bro, it's not about money. If you can't put something on a table, put something in the heart. What's the problem? As long as you are here to really listen and analyze yourself, analyze my reflection of you, that's perfectly fine. So this event of life-threatening situation for him, mm, opened a new chapter at the age of 40 plus, where he started to analyze his trauma, analyze the cultural programming, and he started to question, okay, I'm a human being, what I'm inside. Am I that thing what I'm inside, or I'm the outside, you know?
Yeah.
So how we can say that something is very bad? Yeah, it looks like suffering, it looks like pain, it looks like, family can say how the main money bringer, food on the table, and so on. But you know life is very interesting. It teaches people through the heavy loads, through very heavy loads.
Yeah, and so my way of, like, after talking to you for is to see this 3D and 5D. It feels like free pressing as low as you're gonna go for you to to get the trauma, or to get that situation in life when you kind of have enough had enough, say that you want to go different way, because previous choices made by previous experiences are not working anymore.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of path, which I would call it that way, to better decision making.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's like, let's say that take a third grade and the 10th grade. All these cycles of events in his life is for his betterment. I can say, because it improves the decision making. It improves, and it really aligns that decision making with the reality. That's where the socialization process is becoming really crucial for teenagers, for adolescents who are entering the real world with all the trauma and knowledge and all the cultural programming that they gathered, because it seems real for them because they are fully functioning in their current environment until they are not the authority on their own. And when they're moving into more, let's say, worldwide life, yeah, they start to go into the streets, they start hanging out, they start to encounter different events, situations, which is directly related, because to them it's directly related to their trauma aspects, which is a projection, like a lens for projection of your beliefs and whatever is the situation. Because take a simple example. Someone in a life threatening situation will fall and scream, and someone
Yeah.
else will stand and look straight.
Yes.
It's so how it happens. How all this difference happening in life between all of us. So it's just a tiny aspect, and that, like example, that transition from 3D to 5D is some sort of a journey in a dream. It happens in a moment, in a split moment, but it happens over the consecutive moments. So for me it was death, because the death was at that point when I really understood that I am the fucking product. you know for me, this was main first one acknowledgement. I am the product of environment, of trauma, of cultural programming, of psyops, and all these things. And I was like, okay, what I need to do? What can I do now? And I'm fake. I'm not real. Like, where I am, where is my true self? And during that period, from early age, I was kind of suicidal kid, and I was like, damn this life. Like, what do you mean? Why I need this life? It's not if it's not even me. I'm not even experiencing my life. And this strong feeling of wanting to be, not in this body anymore, to become myself, really killed my identity without any mental programming. It was like one evening event.
Yes, it's like one evening event with like, but there was like thousand events who led to that one
Yeah,
evening.
yeah.
The
The
cup,
collective,
yeah, but
encyclopedia. Yeah.
the cup had to get full for it to kind of overflow and do the change.
That day was basically the bottleneck,
Hmm.
and that's it, and it all crashed because I remember from when I was a teenager, all these thoughts I had, about the world, about the global sufferings, and all this and all that. And I was like constantly asking, like, who I am, why I'm here, why we need these people, like why these people exist, what is God, how it looks like, is it heaven, is it hell, like what is this, So I always had this conversation with myself, and even with the elder friends. I sometimes I had these conversations, but then just I couldn't bear my lifestyle. I couldn't bear environment where I was, and yeah, it was heavy time, but I don't know. I wouldn't dare to say nothing against it.
Yeah, I think it's people who can who would say that they don't accept their past is like that's like you not accepting your gifts,
Oh,
and and,
definitely.
and it's
De-
not it's not easy to live life if you regret any events in your life which happened. My event, as most of at least my Facebook for people know, was divorce, which happened after 14 years together, and for me that was tragical at that given moment, and now I can tell that was the best gift ever because only at the age of what 32 I managed to stop and really think of what I really want out of my life and how I want my life to look, not just listening to how other people or looking at how other people live it and following my parents, what my parents told me is good, what I thought is good, and what is kind of success. So that's, I think, that those moments when, as you mentioned, we see those demons which are inside of us, and then it's our choice if we want to kind of stay there and deal with them and kind of meet them and become friends with them because they're still there. It's just it feels like I didn't want, like I didn't want to accept that part of myself. I would say that all of us have that like dark side, and we have the like the white, the nice side, and I think it's very like I would consider that kind of bad if a person says that I'm only good, because that's only accepting half of yourself. Because if you
I'm
can,
o- I'm only.
so it's you can only be as good as you can be bad. That's one of the things what
Oh, this one what you said is a big one. It's a big one.
like I think I mentioned to you. It's one of the podcasts I watched with Mike Tyson where one of the guys just mentioned that he's very gentle on the podcast, and that Mike Tyson's words were like, "You can only be as good as you can be a monster." And I think it's Jordan Peterson is saying the same because it's just the balance, and it's better when a person can be a warrior and kind of control it, instead when a person is always good and then sooner or later that is gonna blow up like in
I
one.
think Jordan Peterson said is the biggest power is that you are the dangerous individual under voluntary control of that.
Yes, that's
Something.
correct.
Um, you mentioned that we have a choice to meet our demons. Yeah,
Yes.
but this one is personal for you. After the podcast we finish, and when you go to sleep, yeah, make yourself depressed. Face the demons. Face the demons. Make yourself so depressed for tonight. I want to hear the outcome because that's not a food on a call.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get what I mean, you can have the best period of your life and then face the demons, and you can have a worst period of your life and not face any single one of them
Okay,
because
tell. No,
Oh,
I
I
don't.
will tell you an example. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, what was worst period for me 2 years ago, today is like having a snack
yeah,
because of the tools I have. Yeah.
yes,
But sometimes what I had, like I could say recently, is everything is so smooth, it's flow. There is no, even the turbulence things is like I'm leaning on it, you know. I'm not against the turbulence, I'm not pressing it, I'm not forcing anything. I just release my hand like this. Yeah. And when I feel this moment of full allowance, at some point when everything is good, I face a demon.
yeah.
And the demon is has a backpack. Guess what's in the backpack?
Your experiences.
Yes, books, book stories. Yeah, and these stories are given only at the time when you're ready to read them.
That's a
You
good.
cannot call the demon out.
Yeah, till you're not ready to face it.
Yes, because if you start to go in your bed later tonight, yeah, and start, oh, like, no, okay, that is wrong, that is wrong, I don't like it. After 2 minutes you either gonna play the game or you're gonna forget what you was thinking about,
Or I'll go get chocolate from the.
or you're gonna get go chocolate because your mind says, crazy boy,
Yeah,
go enjoy it a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Give me a break.
So this is, how to say, this is balance, you know like, if you can go through, I mentioned in the last podcast, I think, uh, the biggest one of the biggest challenges for me was not facing a failure. I was so used to that failure that it became just like, all right, the next one, make more interesting. But I was scared to face success, and for me that was a demon, because success brings things.
Yeah,
As I was transitioning from I to none, for me was a lot of things coming up that, like, why I'm in this job, why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that. If everything is like who I am is like emptiness, is like I experience that, I know this, why I'm doing this. And honestly, I never got that answer, because there is no answer to that. It's just happening. You can ask many gurus why this dream is happening, and you're gonna get many answers,
different.
many different answers based on their on their foundational religion or on their foundational knowledge set. It will be based on personal experience, yeah, but all of them, they are different, but at the same time they're gonna get to the same point.
Yeah. So to wrap this up, my outcome of like and my thoughts about 3 and 5D is that trauma is like a lift from 3D to 5D if we choose to face our demons. That's the easiest way for me to see it now.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up in a different maybe saying, but I think the same one. It's our projection of the mind. If you're gonna create 3 floors, you're gonna walk 3 floors. If you're gonna create 5 floors, you're gonna walk 5 floors. All I can tell you is just one. Just tap into it. Get here. Be who you are. Be a reflection of what you see. And you will have the greatest experience of all these.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. So it's enough
Thank
for today. Thank you for watching. Please comment or write us any questions or
And subscribe. Definitely subscribe
right.
in our YouTube channel. That's a mandatory. If you watched all the video, you're already a subscriber.
Yeah, so see you next Thursday. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.